Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank you all for sticking around. It's a little bit late in a long presentation or a long series of presentations, and hopefully I'll be able to wake you all up with something that's a little bit different. You've seen lots and lots of cross sections and lots of spreadsheets of resources. Our story is really different. We're a project generator based in Yukon. We trade on the Toronto Venture Exchange as SMD. We've been doing this for about 15 years. It's a model that's been used by others with varying success. We like to think that we've taken it and modified it to really make it work well. So what I'm going to talk about is a little bit about share structure, a little bit about some of the projects, really high-level stuff, and see if I can convince you that this is a really good opportunity, very good risk-reward scenario. So there will be forward-looking statements as usual. Okay, there's a lot of bump in there. It's the usual stuff. We're great guys. You should really take a good look at us. The most important thing, and that's first slide, is that we're very diversified. We got projects for virtually every metal imaginable. We focus on Yukon. I'm going to show you in a moment or two why that's a good place to look. We've been involved as a group in a very high percentage of the most important discoveries that have been made in that territory in the last 50 years. Okay, so why the Yukon? There's a couple of good reasons. One is it sits on the Ring of Fire. We've got the deposits of northern BC and Alaska flanking us. Within that belt, which comprises 1% of the world's landmass, there's 10% of the world's gold resources. That's pretty important stuff. That's a good place to look. It's underappreciated. In addition to that, there was a project generator. Yukon probably has the lowest land holding costs of any jurisdiction in the world. I'll throw that out there. If somebody can tell me one that's cheaper, I'd love to know. It costs $100 per year to hold a mineral claim in Yukon territory. That's work that you do on the ground. You don't have to make any government payments other than just do that work. So it means that you can, for a modest amount of money, hold a large land position. We're the largest claim holder in the Yukon territory. That $100 per year number hasn't been changed since the start of the 1900s. That when the Quartz Mining Act first came in up there, that was what it took a man's work for a year to hold a mineral claim. They've never updated it. So our ability to acquire ground during downturns is fantastic because we don't have to rush things through. We don't have to have perfect timing to acquire the ground just before the next uptick. We can afford to acquire the ground, enhance it, move it forward, get it ready for drilling, and then when the market gets frothy again, do lots of option deals. And you'll see the kind of cyclical nature in one of the later slides. Okay, we've got about 90 million shares outstanding, 96 fully diluted. That number hasn't really changed in the last 8-9 years. We've done a couple tiny underwritings, but we bought back just as many shares as we put out during that time period. We've been able to self-finance ourselves through sales of properties, shares that we got for those transactions, selling some of those, some royalty sales, a number of different ways. We're still sitting in a very healthy position. We've got a $26 million market cap, which reflects how bad the market is, but that's backed by $23 million of essentially liquid assets, $8 million in cash, $15 million in shares of other companies. What isn't seen in that is we own 130 mineral properties outright. You say, wow, that's a ridiculous number of properties. Well, it's even better than that. We've looked at over 200 properties in the last 10 years and culled them down. We're constantly getting rid of the ones that don't come up to expectation and replacing them with better ones. A number of our properties have got years of assessment credit built up. In fact, our best properties we can hold for between 10 and 30 years already without doing any more work on them. So most people have put a little bit vile here. Most guys have got their nuts in a vice because they've got to keep moving their projects forward. They've got to constantly, they're on a treadmill. They have to keep raising money. We've got enough money to operate ourselves, self-financing, and we've built up huge assessment credits. Next year, if I choose not to explore, doesn't matter. I won't lose one property, not one claim will disappear if I don't explore next year because I've got built up assessment credits. So we can ride this cycle out, but we're ready to capitalize on it if it turns up for us. Okay, one of the I'm not going to go into a lot of properties. You've seen lots and lots of cross sections. We're not going to do that. We're going to look at a couple projects very specifically because this year we're actually going to take some of our capital and drill some of the projects. The reason we're willing to drill a couple of projects is we've been so successful in exploration, our surface exploration, the last 3 or 4 years. We've got some projects that just scream to be drilled. And I've had offers from juniors, aggressive juniors, and from majors on these things. And what they're offering, quite frankly, isn't a good reflection of the risk-reward scenario for us. So we're going to risk a little bit of our capital, a few $100,000, to drill some holes that, if they're successful, will be game changers for that project, where we can get a much, much better deal than is currently being offered. So within the Dawson Range Gold Belt, which is a subset of that larger province, we've got a number of projects. I'm just going to go back one slide first. Okay, up at the north end, there's a property called the 60 Mile, and down toward the south end is a property called Malloy. Those are two that I'm going to show you, little simple figures that illustrate why we like our exploration potential. Within the center of that belt are the coffee orogenic veins, the white gold veins, the Claza epithermal veins that are out off the edge of a porphyry system, the Casino porphyry, and a number of other porphyries that some of you may have heard of. So it's a system that's got lots of juice in it, lots of ounces already known. So we're going to look at two of our 6 major projects in that belt. So Malloy, just for reference, I know a lot of you are familiar with the Casino porphyry. The insert map up in the top corner shows a soil geochem at the same contour intervals as the larger map, and at the information presented at the same scale as the larger map. The dark outline, which I hope you can see on that, around the Casino anomaly, represents a deposit of 1.1 billion tons containing 9 million ounces of gold and 4.5 billion pounds of copper. The geochem anomaly on the map is our Malloy anomaly. We're going to put 2 holes right through the core of that thing. I can't guarantee they're going to be successful, but based on my experience, I was the one who drilled all the holes that defined the Casino deposit. We exited during the exploration stage of that, and everybody who was involved in the company that I was running at that time got a 10-banger out of the thing. We like the look of this target. So we're going to put 2 holes, 2 500-meter holes, right through the center of it. We've already got 6 majors lined up to come out and look at it when we're drilling, so we'll see where it goes. It's a good shot. This other one is 60 Mile. Okay, we're at 60 Mile. 60 Mile is the second most productive placer district in Yukon Territory. Only the Klondike itself was larger. The difference is Klondike is about 10 times as big as 60 Mile. It's a very limited area that the gold came out of. Previous explorers have done some drilling in there. The whole area is covered by overburden. It's really hard to figure out where the gold is sourcing from. And they punched down some rotary holes and some diamond drill holes with differing degrees of success. This hole that's shown on this slide was drilled in 2011 by a company that previously had claims in the area. They weren't able to finance for some stupid reason. Don't ask me why. We now own the ground. The intercept, I'm going to convert it for the people who are American here and don't like grams. It's 4 ounces across 5 feet of gold. Well, that's a heck of a result. Well, it gets better. So this figure shows where it is. The black dots are holes that we're proposing to drill adjacent to that intercept, that hole. The closest hole in one direction is 270 meters away and went the other direction. Never had a chance of hitting this zone. In the opposite direction, there's never been a hole drilled that was anywhere near the fault structure, which is shown as a dashed line. It's totally untested. We have 20 kilometers of strike length on this structure, and it's effectively untested. So we're going to drill a couple holes in there. we're also going to drill a hole through what we think is a great porphyry target. The company that drilled that hole that we showed first also did geophysical surveys and geochemical surveys. Great idea, except that usually you want to do the surveys before you drill the hole. They got the results after they finished their drill program, so that wonderful resistivity anomaly, which coincides with a very, very strong molybdenum, copper, silver, gold soil anomaly, has never had a hole through it. The gap in their drill section there is more than 1 kilometer long, and it's an untested target. So again, right off the side of a road, we're all set up to do it. We're going to put a hole right through the heart of that thing. Okay, enough geology. I'm not going to show you any more geology maps. This one here just says, hey, not only is the Yukon a great place to look for gold, it's a great place to look for other metals. I've happened on that one to show some of the technology metals. We've got tin projects, we got tungsten projects, we got lithium projects, we got the whole 9 yards. And, so it, as well as lead, zinc, and copper. Okay, there's the cyclical nature of our business. So the light blue is the number of claims that we've held, properties we've held at various times since we started the generative model. The blue is the number, the dark medium blue is the number that we've had optioned out, and the dark blue are the royalty interests we hold. We sold 3 of our royalty interests about 8-9 years ago for $30 million US. You can see that every time the market gets frothy, we get somewhere between 1/3 and half of all of our projects out the door as options. That's, we can afford to build up our asset base. I would not trade the claims that I have right now for the ones I had before. Just to wrap up, we got big shareholdings in other companies. Some are quite advanced, and I don't think there's anybody out there that's looking for camp scale targets, the scale of what we're looking for, that's got the kind of diversity and leverage that we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you very much.